Today's topic is inspired activism. So there's so much going on in the world, and it's easy to feel disempowered and at the effect of everything that's going on. And I just want to talk about how we can reclaim our sovereignty and our sense of empowerment through inspired activism. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we get started, let's just take a couple minutes to get present, and let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen just flowing into your lungs, flooding your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing life and vitality. And as you exhale, exhale any stress or any tension. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold it, and this time imagine brilliant, bright light just lighting up every molecule, every electron, electrifying, energizing, and bringing that energy throughout your body, your being, and beyond, connecting you with the world. And as you exhale, exhale any stress, any remaining tension. And now let's just take a moment to press our palms together. Softly, softly, softly. Rub your fingers against your palms. Feel the deliciousness of that tickling and tingling sensation, and allow that to bring you present to right here, right now, in this physical experience. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today's topic, inspired activism. So one of the things that I talk with my clients a lot about, and one of the biggest things, most important things that I am an advocate for and a staunch supporter of, is assisting people to find their purpose. And in the quest for our purpose and meaning and vision and all the things that really give us focus and magic and direction in our lives, one of the things that is a clue to discovering this purpose is what is a question that I ask, which is, what breaks your heart? And the things that break our hearts are the things that we often feel completely helpless in the face of, that we feel completely disempowered by. And that state of helplessness and hopelessness and disempowerment is crippling in life. And so when we find something that is absolutely heartbreaking, wrenching, then that's a really powerful clue to something that will give us meaning and purpose in life. So I have a very dear friend who lives not far from where I live, and she, like me, is an animal lover, and she has this beautiful garden that is kind of a wild garden, almost a little bit forest-like. And this season, she's been being visited by a number of deer, and lots of us are experiencing that the proliferation of deer, like lots more deer that are responding very happily to our COVID crisis, or our lack of maybe traffic or whatever. There are lots of deer, and there are lots of communities that have what they call deer management programs, where they do what they call culling the deer, where they kill a lot of deer. And they have different ways of going about it. They have hunters, they have hunting season, they have archers, all different ways of going about it. Now, this friend was having visitations from these deer that she was so enjoying, and her neighbors were so enjoying. And all of a sudden, the deer were nowhere to be found. And in talking to her neighbor, she discovered that there was a deer management policy in our township. And in our particular township, they've designated certain hunting areas where the deer gather, and they have open season from sometime in November to early December, and then from the end of December through part of January. And I discovered this because I was researching it when I woke up at midnight, and I was looking to get more information about who to talk to about this, and also to get more information on how this whole system works. My friend was just completely emotionally devastated, and was saying, if I had known of this, I would have stepped between the hunter and the deer, and taken the bullet or the arrow or whatever myself. And so I was really haunted by this because, and I'm not, well, I am a staunch defender of animal rights, and I do happen to be vegan, and I have been vegetarian for years, and have moved more and more toward being vegan as time has gone by. And I can't understand a lot of things that human beings do, and this is the case with my friend as well. But anyway, I was looking to see if there is a humane approach to deer management, because lots and lots of communities see deer as a problem rather than as part of nature that we get to live in concert with. And so what I found was there was a whole big thing from the Humane Society. One of the big reasons that people feel justified in killing off part of the deer population is to minimize the number of deer so that it would eliminate Lyme disease. And what I learned was that's actually, first of all, it's a misconception to think that deer are the primary vector for Lyme, and second, that killing off the deer actually can exacerbate the situation with Lyme disease. That was an interesting thing, because that's one of the motivators for getting rid of the deer. As far as plants, people are concerned about their hostas and their vegetables and the things that the deer eat. And there are plants to plant that are equally beautiful that don't attract deer or that repel deer. Plus, there are all kinds of humane strategies to manage the interface of humans and deer populations. And there's also something to say that the hunting makes less deer, so the deer have more babies. Apparently, they adjust it very directly to conditions, and if there's a greater plenitude of resources for them, then they procreate more. So anyway, this is probably way more information than you ever wanted to hear about deer, but I think it's something to be aware of. This is something in my consciousness. It wasn't even in my awareness, actually. And so these things, there are lots of things that happen invisibly behind the scenes that we're not aware of. In any case, what happened was this friend was really, truly paralyzed with grief, happened to tell me about it. It was haunting me to know that I'm in this township where where this practice is going on. And I believe that there are more effective practices that could be undertaken. And I also feel that it's not okay to just be killing massive numbers of deer. So that's my personal opinion. You may love me or hate me for that, but that's just where I am with it. Anyway, good morning, Dido. Welcome, welcome. So the point is that I found this information. I shared it with my friend and noticed in my email at like 8:30 this morning that she had already written a bunch of letters and started connecting with the community. Um, and what I realized is that this is something that I can take action about as well. And I suspect that this is just one thing that is a practice that many of us might not condone, or we condone it because we believe it's a necessity in some respect, rather than understanding that there are other maybe more effective approaches to the situation. Um, so what happened for my friend is that rather than being completely bereft and hopeless and feeling at odds with the world um, and in great despair, really great despair, what she did was she took action. And this may or may not for her become a major cause. It may or not become a place of activism for her, but the fact that it was so deeply, deeply heartbreaking to her spurred her to action ultimately when she saw a pathway to to become active. And I think that we all have this responsibility to ourselves as much as to our communities and the world, that when there is something that moves us so profoundly, that we look at ways that we can take action around it. And I can speak for myself. When I thought of what we were doing to the planet, it totally broke my heart. Every time I spoke about it, I would be brought to tears. And I felt hopeless and helpless around it. And I've spoken about this before, but this is such an important thing. And so many of us are reevaluating our lives and our lifestyles, that it's really important for us to be looking at what is our inspiration. And so for me, this heartbreak around what we were doing to the planet became the foundation for me for my mission and purpose and my vision of an eco park and my podcast Sustainability Now, because what I needed to do to be able to heal and mend my heart was to find solutions, to see possibility, to find hope. And that was something that I was able to do by establishing my podcast and reaching out to people who were doing remarkable things related to sustainability in the world and providing solutions. And so if you happen to be interested in sustainability, and I hope you are, because it's critical for all of us, especially at this juncture in the human story, um, our website for the podcast is sustainabilitynow.global. That's .global instead of .com. But please feel free to check it out. And if you're in despair around what's happening in the world, check it out, because we have wonderful, wonderful interviews and information from people that are blazing trails for making a difference in the world and it creating a future for us that is the vibrant, thriving future we dream of. So my encouragement here is to not give in to the despair or the sense of inadequacy that we can so often have in the face of circumstances in the world. And instead of nurturing that despair, bring yourself forward to take an action. And that's something you could consider, it's in a way, it's a selfish act, because it serves to heal you. It serves to make a difference for you. And consequently, as you take action, it's going to have an impact in the world. It is not true. This is one of the biggest myths that we get to disassemble. It is not true that we can't do anything about it. That's one of the biggest paths to resignation, is I can't do anything about it. And there's no limit to what one person can do, or a group of intentional individuals collectively can do. There's no limit to how much of a difference we can make. And so we don't get to be resigned. We get to embrace life, embrace the things that we 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 see as needing change and transformation, and we get to do that. And so we get to do that in a way that is respectful, that is honorable, that is life affirming. Okay, we get to do it not by creating opposition, but by creating alignment, by enrolling others in our vision. And yes, there are people, there's all kinds of spectrums. You and I, you might believe that there should be a deer hunt, and I believe that there shouldn't, and we may have opposite opinions about this. And there's got to be a place where collectively, if we are living into our highest selves, that we can find a bridge where we have a mutual intention. The way to resolve issues or to build bridges is to step above to the next level, or the next level, or the next level of awareness, where there's some commonality between us. So I realized that my stepping out and saying this whole thing about taking care of the deer and humane treatment of animals and vegetarianism or veganism may be polarizing for some of you. I'm not a rabid vegan, in that although I don't understand it, and I'm saddened by the way that we deal with animals in our culture, I recognize that it's not up to me to make the rules for everybody. And that said, by raising awareness, I think collectively in the United States anyway, we are moving toward a more nature aware, a more animal aware, a more expansive consciousness toward other sentient creatures. And as such, I mean, look at the movement toward plant-based diet, look at the movement toward vegetarianism and veganism, and it's mainstreamed now, and we get to be considering our choices more consciously, and to allow ourselves to be awake to the choices and the things that are just kind of routine, the things that we don't question. It's kind of like the fish in the water. The fish doesn't notice the water because that's all that's around them. And I think that there's so many things in our culture that we have, through COVID, gotten to begin to consider, or to be able to see in a way that we never saw before, that we have new moral questions that are posed to us about our environment, about our world, about our lifestyle, about our priorities. And so I encourage you to look at the things in life that break your heart, where you feel utterly and completely paralyzed or powerless, and look at taking an action in the face of that to maybe see where there are wrongs that can be righted, to maybe see where there are other positive possibilities, to expand your own perspective and your own awareness, and empower yourself. Give yourself the freedom to recognize, and the acknowledgement to recognize that you do make a difference, that you can have an impact. And even in the doingness, moved from inspiration, moving from a place of inspiration, the action that you will take in the world will make an impact. And I believe we're here to play this game together. You know, that in some grand scheme, none of this matters, right? In some grand scheme, nothing we do, nothing we say matters. You know, in the scheme of the cosmos, human beings don't even register as a blip. However, as human beings manifest here, or as spirit or consciousness manifest here now as human beings, we get to decide how we're going to play this game, and what kinds of roles we're going to fill on this stage of life and consciousness. And so if we choose to engage in the world, if we want to get the most juice out of this remarkable game that we're playing, or these roles, then why not play a game that gives you energy and vitality and life and a sense of purpose and meaning within that grander context. You know, so it's interesting when we talk about these different dimensions of awareness. You know, we take ourselves very seriously as human beings, and we think that what we're doing is important. And in the context of the cosmos, we're a speck. The whole planet is a speck. And so in one respect, life, the meaning that life has is the meaning we ascribe to it. It's not that that's truth, because in the grander scheme of things, we really don't know how we fit in at all. And so ironically, I'm saying that nothing we say or do matters. On the other side of the coin, at the same time, I'm saying you can make a difference. And so it's all a matter of context. And we get to live in both. You know, when we need to get some perspective, we get to jump out to the cosmic perspective to see that all of this is most likely empty and meaningless. And when we bring it into a personal context, we can recognize that we are the meaning makers. And when something touches us so deeply, that is a call from your consciousness in this manifestation, from your heart, to point you towards your purpose and your direction, and to invite you to rise to the calling of your soul. that in this manifestation, in this moment, is singing to you the melody and the harmonies that you came here to resonate with. So this is just an opportunity for you to look at the choices, look at the places in your life where you feel resignation and you feel like you couldn't make a difference, but your heart is broken by this thing, this element, and rise to it, rise to it. Look at how you can take action. Take a look at it face on, and allow that to propel you into a fulfillment that you might not otherwise have. And we get to do it in a way where we elevate ourselves and those around us rather than creating opposition and conflict. So that's the challenge. And coming into this season of Thanksgiving, this is an opportunity for us to give thanks for the fact that we can make a difference, to give thanks for those who do. In this context, obviously, you know, that one voice can matter. And so embrace the paradox and take action and find your strength, find your voice, find your passion, because this is a time where we need that more than ever. So with that, that's it for today. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live every weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. I so appreciate you being with me and spending this time. And I acknowledge you for your courage to ask the hard questions and explore the dynamics that each of us have in our human experience, and your commitment to growth and transformation. So much love to you. Until next time.